Empathetic listening is the key to making deposits in emotional banks accounts because nothing you do is a deposit unless the other person perceives it as such. You can work your fingers to the bone to make a deposit only to have it run into a withdrawal when a person regards your effort as manipulate, self-serving, intimidating, or condescending because you don't understand what really matters to him. Empathetic listening is in and of itself a tremendous deposit in the emotional bank account. It's deeply therapeutic and healing because it gives a person psychological air. If all the air were suddenly sucked out of the room you are in right now, what would happen to your interest in this book? You wouldn't care about the book, you wouldn't care about anything except getting air. Survival would be your only motivation, but now that you have air, it doesn't motivate you. This is one of the greatest insight in the field of human motivational. Satisfied needs do not motivate, it's only the unsatisfied need that motivates next to physical survival. The greatest needs of a human being is psychological survival, to be understood, to be affirmed, to be validated, to be appreciated. When you listen with empathy to another person, you give the person psychological ear, and after the vital needs is met, you can then focus on influencing or problem solving. This needs for psychological ear impact communication in every area of life. Empathetic listening during the evening. The next morning, a man came up to me almost bursting with news. Let me tell you what happened last night. He said, I was trying to close a big commercial real estate deal while I was here in Chicago. I met with principals, their attorney, and another real estate agent who had just been brought in with an alternative proposal. It's looked as if I were going to lose the deal. I had been working on this deal for over 6 months, and in a very real sense, all my eggs were in this one basket. All of them, I panicked. I did everything I could. I pulled out all the stops. Used every sales technique I could. The final stop was to say, could we delay this decision just a little longer? But the moment was so strong, and they were so disgusted by having these things go on so long. It was obvious they were going to close. So I said to myself, well, why not try it? Why not practice what I learned today and seek first to understand, then to understood. I got nothing to lose. I just said to the man, let me see if I really understand what your position is and what your concern about my recommendation really are. When you feel I understand them, then we'll see whether my proposal has any relevance or not. I really tried to put myself in his shoes. I tried to verbalize his needs and concern, and he began to open up. The more I sensed and expressed the things he was worried about, the results he anticipated, and the more he opened up. Finally, in the middle of our conversation, he stood up, walked over to the phone, and dialed his wife, putting his hand over the mouthpiece. He said, we got a deal. Yeah, I was totally dumbfounded. He told me I still am this morning. He had made a huge deposit in the emotional bank account by giving the man psychological ear. When it comes right down to it, other things being relatively equal, the human dynamic is more important than the technical dimension of the deal. Seeking first to understand, diagnosing before you prescribe is hard. It's so much easier in the short run to hand someone a pair of glasses that have fit you so well these many years. But in the long run, it severely depletes both P and PC. You can't achieve maximum interdependent production from an inaccurate understanding of where other people are coming from, and you can't have interpersonal PC high emotional bank account if the people you relate with don't really feel understood. Empathetic listening is also risky. It takes a great deal of security to go into a deep listening experience because you open yourself up to be influenced. You become vulnerable. It is paradox in a sense because in order to have influence, you have to be influenced. That makes you have to really understand that's what habit 1 2 3 are so foundational. They give you the changes in a core, the principal center from which you handle the more outward vulnerability with peace and strength. Diagnose before you prescribe. Although it's risky and hard, seek first to understand or diagnose before you prescribe is a correct principle manifesting many areas of life. It's the mark of all the true professionals. It's critical for the optometrist, it's critical for the physicians. You wouldn't have any confidence in a doctor prescription unless you had confidence in the diagnosis. When our daughter Jenny was only 2 months old, she was 6 on Saturday, the day of a football games in our community that dominate the consciousness of almost everyone. It was an important game. Some 60,000 people were there. Sandra and I would like to have gone, but we didn't want to leave little Jenny. Her vomiting and diarrhea had us concerned. The doctor was at that game. He wasn't our personal physician, but he was the one on call. When Jenny's situations got worse, we decided we need some medical advice. Sandra dialed the stadium and had him paid. It was right at a critical time in the game, and she could sense an officious tone in his voice. Yes, he said briskly, what is it? This is Mr. Cooey, doctor, and we are concerned about our daughter Jenny. What's the situation? He asked. Sandra described the symptoms and he said, okay, I'll call in prescription. What is your pharmacy? When she hung up, Sandra felt that in her rush she didn't really give in him full data, but that what she had told him was adequate. Do you think he realized that Jenny is just a newborn? I asked. I'm sure he does, Sandra replied, but he's not our he's do you think he realized that Jenny is just a newborn? I asked her. I'm sure he does, Sandra replied, but he's not our doctor. He's never even treated her. Well, I'm pretty sure he knows. Are you willing to give her the medicine unless you're absolutely sure he knows? Sandra was silent. What are we going to do? She finally said. Call him back, I said. You call him back, Sandra replied. So I did. He was paged out of the game once again. Doctor, I said, when you call in that prescription, did you realize that Jenny is just 2 months old? No, he exclaimed. I didn't realize that. It's good you call me back. I'll change the prescription immediately. If you don't have confidence in the diagnosis, you won't have confidence in the prescription. This principle is also true in sales. An effective sales purpose seeks to understand the needs, the concern, the situation of the customer. The immature salesman sales products, the professional sales solution to to needs and problems. It's a totally different approach. The professional learns how to diagnose, how to understand. He also learns how to relate people needs to his product and services. And he has to have the integrity to say, my product or service will not meet that need if it will not. Diagnosing before Diagnosing before you prescribe is also fundamental to law. The professional lawyer first gather the fact to understand the situation, to understand the law, and precedent before preparing a case. A good lawyer almost writes the opposing attorney case before he writes his own.